The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news, untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. The education industry in southern Cameroon was an industry compared to none. It was an educational system envied by all until La République du Cameroon stepped in with a corrupt colonial system of education. Today it is interesting seeing the colonial administrator coming out to say the education sector is the most corrupt sector in La République du Cameroon. Well, on Tuesday, we brought you a story of an ambassador in Yaoundé to the US, which led us to thinking what moves the interim government is making to create friendship with the USA. Although Dr. Kupe Muanenguba believes this ambassador is not a policymaker and whatever he says does not quite affect the media. Is he the one type that could make policies that can affect the media? These and more we hope to find out on tonight's Undaunted, as we hope to have Dr. Elad Kizito with us. But before we get further with the news, let's have the prime headlines.
Prime headlines for today, 1st of September 2022. We'll start with the story, Bameng denizens scared of Lake Eos experience. Today we will be revisiting the US diplomat story with Dr. Kizito Elad as our guest. Education sector term the most corrupt colonial CONAG board says. A Carina e-vehicle burnt during maintenance in Bamenda is a story you will be interested in. And in sports, England have to learn how to use VAR. Conte anger in Spurs draw. On 21st of August 1986, a leather carbon dioxide CO2 cloud burst from the bottom waters of Lake Eos, a savanna district in southern Cameroon, killing 1,746 people and more than 3,000 livestock. Hearing or reading of what transpired in Eos is terrifying, and most people, for those who reside around the lakes. With the knowledge that the Lake Eos gas burst surprised all and sundry, even rumors around lakes should not be taken with a pinch of salt. Lake Eos in Fangam local government area in Menchum County, as reported by Undaunted, is changing colors lately. The worries of the people can now be buried with a clarification statement from scientists. Good evening, Ambazonians. This is where we begin the full briefings of Undaunted tonight. I am Oni Okbalan Smart is here as always. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Onyi. Our fellow Ambazonians, good evening. The people of Menchum can now sleep with both eyes closed regarding the changing nature of the color of Lake Eos. The lake for 4 days now has been changing colors. Denizens of Bafmeng carrying out farming around the Lake Eos no longer go to their farms, and even residents around the lake have relocated for fear of an eventual gas explosion. With knowledge of what transpired in 1986 with Lake Eos, the people of Bafmeng are afraid of a similar occurrence. The Colonial Senior Divisional Officer of Menchum County has clarified the entire people of Menchum in general and Fungum in particular that the changing color of Lake Eos is as a result of the heavy rains lately. This was the object of a communique of August 30th, 2022, signed by the Colonial SDO. In the communique, the Colonial SDO opined that the sudden change in the color that has appeared in Lake Eos and the other in its vicinity is as a result of the heavy rains in recent weeks. He added that from scientists, it should be noted that the sudden change is due to heavy rains that have shaken the water level that have brought up the surface particles deposits at the bottom of the lake.
Now, consequently, the said particle in rising to the surface have caused chemical reactions that have provoked the odor in the area. The communique thereby calls on the entire to remain calm while remaining vigilant. Now, let's see the video for yourself.
As you can see, we are here in Bafmen. Where is Bafmen located? In Minchum Division. We can find this lake which is called Lake Epalim. Since 3 days ago, this lake is bubbling, changing colors. Water is coming up and going down. People are afraid. You can see women from all places running from farm. People abandoning farm to run home, fearing that what happened to cocoa may happen to coffee also. That's why we stand here as eyes to those who cannot see and ears to those who can hear and don't understand, and mouth to speak for them. That please, scientists, people that can see exactly what is happening, let they should come before time so that tomorrow it will not be too late. Please, please, something is flashing to happen in this lake. We don't know what, we cannot say, we are not scientists, we are just sending this message to people that can do something quick and fast. Please. Thank you.
The education industry in southern Cameroon was an industry compared to none. It was an educational system envied by everyone until our Republic to Cameroon stepped in with a corrupt colonial system of education. When teachers came out in 2016 to stage a peace strike decrying the adulteration of the Anglo-Saxon system of education in southern Cameroon, the colonial military was deployed to crush the teachers. Today, it is interesting seeing the colonial administrator coming out to say the education sector is the most corrupt sector in La Republique du Cameroon. Now that this is coming from them, what will surrogates to colonial be a regime say?
The president of the Colonial National Corruption Commission, CONAC, Reverend Dr. Diodone Masigams, has revealed that the education sector is the most corrupt in La Republique du Cameroon. He was speaking on Wednesday, August 24, 2022, while launching a week-long campaign for a free and transparent resumption of classes for the 2022-2023 academic year, for beginning from August 23 in Batoir in the East region of La Republique du Cameroon. Now, this is a system of education that colonial ruler of La Republique du Cameroon, Paul Biya, is forcing on the people of southern Cameroons.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Wonders they say will never end. One is tempted to accuse the use of some mystical powers with certain happenings these days. Now, it is not an easy one to accept that a car is taken to a garage for maintenance and instead it is consumed by fire. Now, inasmuch as it might sound absurd that a car is burnt down in the hands of a mechanic whom in normal sense is the one to put the car in good condition, other mechanical dysfunction can cause fire outbreak from a car, right? Now, a Toyota Carina e-vehicle got burnt at Hospital Roundabout in Bamenda in a garage. The said car was taken to the garage for repairs. Is this normal? Was the common question on the lips of onlookers.
Now, this Toyota Carina e-model vehicle, Friday, August 16th, caught fire as maintenance works were being carried out on the vehicle in a garage. With the outbreak of the fire, there was a great mobilization to put out the flames. Well-wishers tried in vain to rescue this vehicle. Undaunted gathered that this car had drums of fuel on board. It is the fuel many believe amplified the flames, making it hard for those struggling to put out the flames with sand and soil to succeed. The magnitude of the flames could have been possible to be contained by only the service of the Colonial Army Rescue Units, which unfortunately were nowhere to be found. At first time, the car owner was still to recover from the shock, as the car was his only source of income. Worse still is the fact that this happened barely days to the resumption of schools for the new academic year. He laments of where to get money for the children's schooling. Well, here is a video of the car burning.
If it's short, I have don't click.
Who is drafted next? Of course, it's Kupe Muanenguba County, KMC, and it got its name from Mount Kupe and Mount Muanenguba that are found in the area. Now, KMC was created in 1993 with 3 counties, Bengem, Ngoti, and Tombel local government areas. It is bordered to the north by Manu counties, to the northeast by Libelem West, by part of Ndian and Meme counties, and to the south by the littoral region of La Republique du Cameroon. With a total surface area of 3,950 square kilometers, the county has about 189 villages and a total population of about 197,171 inhabitants. The area has a population density of 13 persons per square kilometer.
Moreover, this area has two alternating seasons, which are the dry and rainy seasons. The rainy seasons begins from March to November, spanning 9 months. Its humidity ranges from 75% to 80%, with an average temperature ranging between 210 Celsius and 240 Celsius. This is just a brief summary of Kupe Muanenguba County. It is worthy to note that Kupe Muanenguba happens to be one of the largest counties in Ambazonia. And on Saturday, during the pre-draft show, we will bring to you more details about KMC County. Now, until then, let's enjoy some of the fruits coming in from the draft.
Now, talking about fruits coming in from the draft. Now, while stakeholders are drafting and winning the war, noisemakers are waxing strong in trivialities. This is an update from Bafut. 7 Qatar has again blown off another armored car, deleting 5 Cameroon terrorist genocidal soldiers. Now, let's watch this video.
Today, the 1st September 2022, this one Osama bin Laden for Bafut. They were the Black Python squad. Smooth and they were reach for a target. Bafut 7 Qatar. Bafut 7 Qatar live. Climb. Bafut 7 Qatar live. Osama bin Laden.
In another development, KMESU reports that Colonial French Cameroon SDO Menyon Gilbert is the next to ban community schools from functioning after the Colonial SDO for Boyo County did same last week. Oh, well, remember, we are drafting Kupe Muanenguba this weekend. All I can say is let's draft for our freedom. Ensure you join Tapadi King and Uchiba Nelson to find out why you must hold on still till we get to Boya.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
When there is peace and stability, energy is no longer needed for other things to fall in place. There is therefore a misplaced energy to be fighting for schools to be opened in a chaotic atmosphere. The in-house slave Nkwangugal Lawrence, mayor to the Bafut Council and the Colonial Divisional Officer of Bafut, have staged an outing providing didactic materials to pupils and students in Bafut. This is a move that is worth applauding in normal times, but not in a war zone. Education in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was running smoothly until the colonial regime of La Republique du Cameroon stepped in with an agenda to destroy the Anglo-Saxon system of education. The peak of the attempt to assimilate and destroy all which to southern Cameroon came when the colonial ruler of La Republique du Cameroon declared war on southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in January 2017. If things were normal, could these be surrogates be clamoring for back to school? Why are they not engaging their boss in Yaoundé to undertake peace moves instead?
Now, the in-house slave mayor of Bafut, Ngwakanga Lawrence, and the colonial divisional officer, Mr. Fuku Njuking, and Delis have committed in crazy and a hypocritical campaign for Back to School 2022-2023 academic year. This was during a so-called preparatory meeting for a fluent school year 2022-2023 in Bafut local government area at the Colonial DO's office Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. The come together was also an opportunity for the council to release school needs to some staged kids of school-going age and kitchen products to their parents to take care of gastronomy so children don't study an empty stomach. The so-called education contributors in Bafut also used the get-together to lay bare the challenges they say have been on their necks since the Anglophone crisis degenerated into an armed conflict, which have not also been friendly to the education sector. According to Mr. Ngwasi Claude, insecurity, inability of parents to pay fees, lack of teachers and learning school infrastructure, amongst other things, are some of the bulwarks standing on the way of education in Bafut. Now, this is what he says. Many school structures have been vandalized and yet to be rehabilitated. Lack of teachers because of the prevailing situation, amongst others, are some of the walls standing on the way of action in Bafut subdivision. With this crisis, parents are unable to take their responsibilities as far as school requirements are concerned. Parents are afraid to send their kids to school. Teachers also have the same fear that going to school will land them into trouble with armed groups operating in Bafut. This is what Ngwa had to say. A head teacher who didn't want to be named also hammered on the level of insecurity in Bafut, especially for those in the education sector, saying, how am I sure my safety is guaranteed? My school is located on a hill. The school is also in a bad shape and needs rehabilitation. If I know my life will not be a risk, I will be the first on campus come September 5th, 2022. This is what she pointed out.
Now, Chief Ndaga Samuel, a neighbor of Maindum too, while hoping that children's rights to education would be fully respected, also decried that insecurity is their greatest challenge. He says you can't blame them because life is very important. They have to be secured. We are advising them to enroll their children in schools. He goes on to say it is difficult, but we have to try. Education is very important, the traditional leader intimated. With all these different voices on the need for peace that can come through a genuine and inclusive dialogue, the in-house slave to the Bafut Council and the colonial deal of Bafut local government area, like the colonial La Republique du Cameroon ruler, are engaging rather in a cosmetic moves. Though the usual hustling and bustling that used to be the order of the day around this period seems to be absent in Bafut and the entire southern Cameroon as a whole ahead of school resumption, the excitement is there, though in reduced intensity. From observation, both parents and learners wish to see peace return for effective school take up again without delay. Amidst all these, we have a U.S. diplomat who has made utterances relating to peace and that has sparked up controversy within the Ambazonian community. The concurrence of the words, actions, policies gearing towards September could be considered collective calculation by the colonial administration.
To refresh your minds, we would like to replay the interview of the U.S. diplomat. It is believed there was a spin in the excerpts that CRTV decided to publicize. Dr. Martin Mungwa believes he is not a policymaker, meaning that his utterances may not have lots of impact, so Ambazonians has nothing to worry about. And right after that, we will have Dr. Elad Kazito, the Secretary of State for the Department of Foreign Affairs of the interim government, to expand on it from a different dimension. Let's have the video.
Of cooperation between Yaoundé and Washington. The interview with the U.S. diplomat will be aired this Sunday at 6 p.m. on the mother channel of the CRTV, 5:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. on CRTV News Channel. Charles Ebune has the highlights of the interview in this report.
At least 60,000 Cameroonians are in the United States today, including the plus 16,000 Americans of Cameroonian origin. A solid human resource base for U.S. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Cameroon, Christopher John Lamora, to denounce violence in the northwest and southwest regions, especially coming from Cameroonians based in the United States.
I have seen a lot of the videos and I am very troubled by, and we all should be troubled by, videos where people are calling for violence, where people are suggesting that killing students and preventing them from going to school is somehow a valid approach to resolving underlying social concerns. It isn't, and it never will be.
And it is the first broadcast one-on-one interview in Cameroon by the new American diplomat 6 months into the office.
The people in the diaspora, be they in the United States or elsewhere, who have been calling over the past several years for violence need to stop. There's no question about that. Violence is not the answer. People need to have a peaceful conversation. Those who are encouraging attacks on schools, the burning of hospitals, the shooting of people who violate these imposed regulations by the non-state armed groups, those calls for violence just need to stop.
Apart from the situation in the northwest and southwest, the American chief diplomat in Cameroon assessed cooperation in other fields, especially health diplomacy.
Cameroon's on track, actually, to be the first country in West and Central Africa to hit the globally established targets for epidemic control in HIV. And I think that's in large measure because of our cooperation.
He equally hailed the contribution of Cameroonians who have become Americans in the promotion of peace and the image of Cameroon globally.
Dr. Kengasong does good credit to Cameroon and to the United States as a Cameroonian American. Many, many Cameroonian Americans are contributing to our collective growth and development, and he is among the most prominent.
According to Ambassador John Lamora, Yaoundé and Washington are poised in working together to promote peace, human rights, and climate-sensitive energies.
I'm very pleased with the nature of the relationship that we have with Cameroon, but I think it can be stronger.
The United States ambassador to Cameroon also took questions on the Ukraine front line, President Joe Biden's Africa policy, and the new kit supplier for the national football team, One All Sports.
On a rather sad note, friends and colleagues of Lake.
All right, fellow Ambazonians, I'm sure that this is not the first time you're seeing that video. For this week, this video has been a major concern to every one of us for several reasons. Well, we have in the studio the Secretary of State for the Department of Foreign Affairs of the interim government, Dr. Kizito Elad. This is the second time he'll be in the studio this week because of how sensitive this topic is. Dr. Kizito Elad, you're welcome again to Undaunted. Thank you for making our time to be here again today.
Always my pleasure, Onye and Star.
We did promise Ambazonians that today we will dissect this issue extensively, pointing out to all of the deep factors that could have necessitated this particular interview. Now, let's start with the fact that this particular interview is the first from the report we just played out here. Is a fourth that he's granting 6 months into office. Isn't it amazing how he's already biased with everything that is going on? He seems to be very interested in students returning back to school. And he seems not to be interested in the fact that they are also harassed, killed while going to school or when they used to go to school. Dr. Elad, over to you.
So thank you very much, Onye and Star. It's always a pleasure meeting you again on ABC, and greetings to fellow viewers and our viewers, especially at Homeland, Ground One. And yeah, concerning the question you just asked, you know, it's the second time I had some little discussion with Comrade Paddy, 2 days ago, I think, and we tried to bring out something. But for these past 2 days, these 2 nights that we've had some sleep, things are evolving behind little by little. Well, this is 6 months that Christopher John Lamora has been in La République du Cameroon. And sometimes, the problem with diplomacy is that the theory and the practice varies a lot. I mean, there's a lot of cheap talk sometimes in diplomacy, but scholars have found that we still have a lot of some of us doing diplomatic outreach out there in different countries have a lot to learn on what we say, how we say it. You can imagine Ambassador Lara, where he finds himself. It's not an abuse, he is a gay. And he finds himself in a country where gays are penalized. It's against the law. The penal code penalizes gay people. And he has been a staunch gay activist. And he has entered a country whereby he has seen that if he doesn't compromise with the authorities in some issues where he has discovered that the authorities are having difficulties, then his activism for gay rights will fail. So you can see exactly now that his utterances on school returning, and then he used the word. Words are words are gold. He used the word some people in the beginning of his interview. He said some people. That captures an abstract of who are the some people. Then he went again to say whether in the United States or elsewhere, that is still abstract. Then he came now to the real point where he has been dodging to say non-stakeholders and talked about Cameroonians who are in the USA. Well, as I've said last time, he is not at the top of the issue. And from your monologue, you said Dr. Mungwa has already put it on. He's not a policymaker, so his utterances have very little to do on issues that are decision making, which is true. He is representing the USA. His own duty there is to gather the reports, make sure things are, send it back home to the State Department that will look at it. From there, will divide the jobs. If he's going to the judiciary, the legislature, or the executive, that is how it works. So he cannot sit there and decide on issue. As I was talking on the gay right, you can hear him openly saying they have cooperation on HIV. Well, I'm not a scientist, but it has been proved that most of the gay and lesbians are quick to catch up these diseases, as we have it now in what they call monkeypox. It was said I watched it on TV, and it is affecting most of gay people.
Dr.
So
Elad.
cooperating,
Dr. Elad, I would want to
yeah.
take you back a bit before you get into this gay part of the discussion. I just want to take you back a bit. You made mention of what we also made mention of Dr. Mungwa's statement, how he's encouraging Ambazonians not to take his utterances very seriously. Now, before you leave this section of this discourse, if we are not supposed to take him seriously, and you say, of course, he's not at the helm of affairs when it comes to discussion, right? Now, is it possible for his own idea or for his thoughts or for his opinion not to be sought after when decisions are going to be made at the end of the day? And shouldn't we bother about it a bit, knowing that he's already here and he has, should we say, biased the mind when it comes to Amazonians at the moment? Because from his utterances, you can say that he's biased a bit. Now, don't you think that his ideas or his thoughts, opinions could be sought after, probably when there is a peace-led process or a mediation kind of process that might want to go on?
Well, I will authoritatively say no. His opinion will not start. I would say no. Well, before we had the Undersecretary for African Affairs, Thibonage, who had such an interview and was the opposite. What Ambassador Lamora is saying now was what the journalist who interviewed Thibonage was asking Thibonage to take action on people, according to them, people or Cameroonians, as they try to put it, forgetting that we are not Cameroonians, but they try to put it, they coin it because they are afraid to use that word, Ambazonians or the former British Southern Cameroons, they're afraid to use that word because that is already accepting indirectly our status as an independent country. So the journalist, it was a lady who was putting this very word that Ambassador Lamora is talking today to Thibonage. So today now is the Ambassador Lamora using that very lady's word. I mean, if we find out this interview of that Thibonage, I will look for it and send it to you at the studio. You listen exactly what that lady was telling Thibonage to do is what Ambassador Lamora is saying they will do if whatever happens. And when I say this, I want to say it like, as I said, authoritatively, it will play absolutely very little role in the sense that America, the USA, has all started hitting hard on La République du Cameroon. And this is the period of September. Look at the timing. The UN is holding its annual meeting very soon in September. So they are finding words that by bringing all the fake news, by the killing of Field Marshal, the king, by Macron going down there after getting that Field Marshal is dead. Now the Lamora is talking about the non-state actors and the Cameroonians living in America, and then he used the word has to stop. Well, what he has to know is that words don't threaten us anymore. What we are doing, the Amazonians, is not a secret. We are not hiding our identity. We are not hiding where we are or what we are doing. We do it openly. And he said he has gathered a lot of videos whereby people are calling for this and that and that. I don't know exactly where those videos he gathered them, but we have made it clear about school resumption, where he is trying to promote them. Maybe they have given him his own status, because any diplomat or what you saw from the United Nations Secretary General, you saw from the Commonwealth lady, you saw from the former Chile president who is in charge of human rights today, and you saw from even Lafantino, the football president of FIFA. Everybody who goes down there get his own statue, a piece of cake. So maybe he has been given his, and he becomes so biased. You ask me, is it him a bit biased? No. Onye, you are trying to, that is an understatement. He is biased. Absolutely, practically, and theoretically, he is biased. You cannot give such an interview whereby more than 4,500 people have been killed, whereby villages, houses have been burned, whereby schools have been destroyed. You are talking about the corruption in schools in Amazonia. And you talked about how the schools in Amazonia was before La Republique came in to destroy everything. And then you ask, he is a bit biased. No, he is biased because he never addressed. But for the moment, they have just announced that the full interview will be coming out on Sunday. What I will ask Amazonians to chill and let's wait and see. Exactly, because as you rightly said, the highlights that whether they call him a bullet Charles or whatever, I hope I call his name well, but it's not important, just did, has been chosen to to brainwash people. You know, this is a brainwash. Maybe something he said also in supportive of the Amazonians in his full interview. We don't know. We have not gotten it. They have not put it on their website. We've tried to get the full interview, yet we have not. So maybe he said something, but they have put the brainwash side of it, which people now will listen to the full interview. You won't even get what he is saying again, as this one has been the highlight, and that's it. So you looked at the cover of a book and you tell the story that is inside the book. So for now, I would say let's chill. Let's wait and see on Sunday. Sunday is in 2 days. After the Kupe Muanenguba draft, we'll have enough time to rest and follow up the full interview and see what he said.
All right. Obviously, while we wait for the Kupe Muanenguba draft on Saturday, school resumption has been slated for 5th. 5th. Now, from our report here today, report from Bafut, it says parents are scared of sending their children to school, obviously. Teachers are also scared of going to school, obviously. Now, on Monday, we had the SOS for Education, and she came on and also emphasized the importance of education and also the importance to stay alive. Now, as SOS for foreign affairs, I'm sure that when you go to other climes, you see that education is paramount and important. So probably we need you to also emphasize that while education is important and while we must not wait to have to get children educated only by the four walls of a classroom, of a formal classroom, it can also be done at home through various processes and through various means.
Well, you've said it all. Normally, I would have just said yes, and then we stop there because you've said it all. We are advancing. We are going in a digitalized world. Why they are still thinking of chalk and board. You know, that is why we say we need our country. Let me emphasize on this. President Sako has said it, and he made it clear on his interview. We have never said children should not go to school. That is the misunderstanding, the misconception on this school resumption thing. We have made it, we have had meetings with the UN, we've asked for a buffer zone whereby the demilitation, where there is nothing and the students can go to their school peacefully with all their minds geared for their future. But, Madam Onye, you can say it and say it loud. Even now that I'm here, we can see in Ukraine, everybody is running away. Why don't they stay in Ukraine with the war that is going on and go to school? Up till today, we know that is an international Red Cross that is going to declare whether it's an armed conflict or is an international conflict or not. But those things are theory. We are humans. We know there is war in Cameroon against Armenia. You cannot send a child to school when the war is going on. If we today, La République, they are doing all the best and they are good at that. They are very good at that. They just want us, they forget to know where and what we stand for. So they think for them, a sitting ambassador, a career diplomat like Christopher John Lamore will say something there, and those who are in the USA or Europe will be trembling. Oh, children, go back to school. And then when La République go and kill those children as they have been doing, he talked of children to go to school. If there has been any video out there where children have been threatened going to school, bet you those are videos that have been made by all these culprits working with La République du Cameroon. This interim government have never released any video that says children will be killed, children will be, hospitals will be burned or schools will be burned if children go there. Let him prove just a single one that this interim government has released. Instead, we have said this lies in the hands of parents. We are securing their life, as the Secretary of State for Education said, Professor Dr. Epote. That is a woman of education, and she knows what is education. And we Amazonians, we know what is education. Then that is why our educational system is being corrupt. I mean, when I corrupt, I don't mean that they pay money for doing something. They bring Franco-Pidgin teachers to come and speak with to our children in order to spoil, to blend the knowledge, the pure sense of knowledge of our children. And we become. If you listen today to our children speak English, you will know that La République has succeeded about 75% to condemn our educational system. But then that is one of the things that brought the fight for us to regain our independence, because we want to maintain our educational and our legal system. Those two things are very important for any country in the world. When these two things are, the country goes smooth. And that is why you see our neighbors, La République du Cameroon, they are distorted. They don't have any system. It's just, I don't know how to, I mean, there is no comparison, there is no system that you can use to define them. So we are not telling our children not to go to school. We are saying their security is for us very, very important. And what is the first duty of any nation is to defend their citizens. If you cannot defend your citizens, then you're not a nation. So Ambazonia first, and then come the education and the rest. And that's why they have seen that our position is very strong, whether politically, legally, morally, we are strong, and they know that what we are doing is the right thing to do. And that is why you see they are trying to use words, threats, and corruption, as they do always, to make sure they succeed. But let me say one thing before we end this question. All this thing is coming up because of the nonsensical move of some of us Amazonians. You can see the other people there. I don't want to use that name that they call themselves government or interim government. And I don't want to call that lady who have lied to herself until she believes she is a president. You know, sometimes there are people who used to use titles, even academic titles. For example, they call themselves doctors, you know, of which they are not. But they do stay with that lie in them and become and even believe that they are doctors. So you have people, some like Dr. Abega Tiofi was a footballer then in La République du Cameroon. And if you call any other name, nobody understands. There are many I don't want to talk about. This lady has lied herself that she is the president of Amazonia until she believed her own lie. There is one thing that happened today. Luckily, at times we go into things that every disappointment is a blessing. They say that, but that is true. Because today I came to hear the biggest lie that has ever been told about this government from this lady. I'm using this word, this lady, because I don't want to call her name. I don't want to dignify her. For me, she is absolute a non grata. That's why I don't want to call her name. This lady, a pathological liar, said she is working with my patience Abiedo to bring the interim government, because she is the legitimate president of Amazonia, to bring this interim government under her. So you can see some connection coming from our neighboring country, that there is something fishy behind the scene. And when I spoke to my patients today, because I got that, I sent a message today to a forum where we belong there. There are all these people who are claiming to have an election on Monday. I don't know why they deceive themselves so much, but it's good to fool yourself until you enter the pit. Let them go ahead. It's not important. The draft of Kupe Muanenguba on Saturday is more important than all what they're doing. I got an audio there that I reacted on that audio. I got one of an Ambazonian who think he is so knowledgeable, is the best in the best of the world, was saying some of us should be removed from that forum because we are the ones planning for their election not to take place. We are working with this lady. So please permit me just use this word, this lady, because I don't want to call her name. And I was so shocked. And when I called some people behind and they told me she was on Nanchop, I don't know which day, and said she is working with this interim government in order to bring the cabinet or the government of President Sako under her because she is the legitimate president. I just want to make Ambazonians to know that once a quitter, you are a quitter. Once a thief, you are a thief. This lady can never, ever, there is just nobody in this interim government that have ever spoken to this lady since she was deceived or willingly wanted to become, I don't know, president of Amazonia. So I want Amazonians never to think out there. These are the people giving the advantage to somebody like Christopher J. Lamora, John Lamora, to think and confidently that we are separated, and then they have some group that they can coerce and talk to them and bring them to their side and see what they can do. No, my direct address to the ambassador, American ambassador in La République du Cameroon, is that the people you think they claim to be whoever they are, you will be shocked that Ambazonians don't even know them or even recognize them, or they have absolutely no authority in executing this revolution that we stand for. I will leave it like that.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Elad, I have one question, and it's been there all the while. Even today, you sort of reminded me about it. Speaking of the divide, because the international community and every other person who is interested in Amazonia sees this division, and they don't you think that's sort of like a factor that is hindering the international community coming to the aid of Ambazonia as regards the Swiss-led process, having a lot of people saying this is the president and that is the president, different groups coming together, having this split and different governments in Ambazonia. Don't you think that is a factor that's, hindering any chances of the international community coming to the aid of Ambazonians?
Madam Star, thank you for that question. And let me say this question we've been answering all the international community members that we've been having meetings, discussions, conversations with them. Call it whatever we want to use. We had a meeting with the Under Secretary for the United Nations. We were there with the President, the Secretary of State for Defense, Communication, myself. We had this meeting, and he mentioned exactly this thing. He talked about the division among us. Well, after questions and answers, I asked him, I addressed him, I asked him, sir, how long are you working with the United Nations? And he said he's there for 38 years. First of all, being in a place for 38 years show this type of style of Paul Biya, because you are there for 38 years and young people are graduating. When are they coming to take that position? That is not what we are talking today. And I told him that for 38 years, you have unable to resolve, intervene, unable to intervene, merge, unable to merge, be in so many conflict zones and areas, and you are very versed with conflicts, revolutions, wars, and all that. Just name to me a single country in this world whereby there have been revolutions like this, what we have today, and there were no factions, and there was just one person who commands everything till they got what they wanted. Give me a single country, just name one. And he said, yeah, Dr. Ella, you're right, there's none. And that is the answer I will give you, Madam Star, Mr. The thing is that I'm not advocating separation and for any Tom and Dick to just get up and say, I'm the president, or I'm this, I have this group, I'm this. No. It's thing for us to unite and face the enemy. But when it happens like that, we have to find a means of collaboration, but not with fraction among us. For now, I cannot just get up tomorrow and go and stand up and say, I'm the president of Amazonia. No, it doesn't work like that. Dr. Samuel Ekomesako was legitimately put into this position through constructive and orderly election. It happens with a lot of senior people like Professor Victor Anyangwe was there, Chief Fonken was there. In fact, it worked. You saw him was welcomed by Panjoli Tumbe. He has met with Pagoji Dinka. He has met with the Ambassador Fosong. He has met with late our late Kupe Muanenguba, who died. So we did a constructive work in order to put him in power. He just stood up and say, I want to be the president, and then took over the presidency. No, it doesn't work like that. And so this division is happening. I will use the word, is part of revolution, but we can make it easier and better than what we are doing today, because we have some greedy people who are out there just to spoil the revolution by selling us to La Republique to Cameroon indirectly, pretending, and I've been using this word, and I'm telling Amazonians, I have made a lot of videos concerning the trap that is coming up. I use the word that where I put my foot, put your foot there, because where I am, I don't want to say I'm the king, I'm the best. No. But it just happened like that. I know how to follow the rules and regulations. So when you Amazonians see where I sit, don't follow crowd. Don't go because I know this person. Those people who separated there and claim to have a government. If you ask any Amazonian, my relationship with most of them, they are to me like blood brothers and sisters. But today, I didn't follow them. Somebody like Secretary Chris is for me like a brother. We talk nearly even 2 days ago. We were talking, but I will not follow his way because he's a brother to me. No, I will not. So this division, Mister, is not good, but it's part of revolution. But some people are doing it foolishly than it was supposed to be done. But all the same, as I've said, there is just no country in this world that have ever gone through conflict like what we are undergoing now. And there was just a single person that was taken from the beginning to the end without these things happening.
Okay, so different factions of government are usually common with every revolution. Okay, that's one thing I
Well,
got
not
to see
point
there.
of correction,
You're saying it doesn't.
not government. They are not. They are not government. There is one government. There is the Ambazonia government
Okay.
with the commander in chief, who is President Samuel Komesako. Any other faction are groups
Okay.
or civil societies or all those type of. They are groups. They are not government. There's one government.
Okay. So this is very peculiar with revolutions, and you don't think it should affect the international community stepping in to aid this? You don't
No,
think it
it
should
should.
affect that? Well, that being
No, it
said,
should.
like you also said, yes, like you also said, a lot of people misunderstand the whole idea of Amazonian liberation struggle, and they go for mostly positions and whatnot instead of the main idea of the whole revolution. Well, I think Oni has something to say in this regard, or a question.
All right, Dr. Elad, thank you so much for being part of the show. Just one more question before you go. I know that you are not in the Department of Defense, but I'm sure that as SOS, you might have an idea of this question I want to ask. Now, you mentioned that President Samuel Ikomesako is a legitimate president. We all agree to that because we have seen him act in that capacity. Now, what happens if people decide, if parents at the home front decide to fall for this temptation of allowing their children go to school on Monday the 5th? Now, remember that this is not the first time that the interim government will stand for a thing. And then we have other Coopers and Blacklegs having a counter opinion and giving a counter memos and all of that. So what would happen if parents at the home front decide to go against the interim government position on this particular issue? What would happen?
And that is why we say, and I thank you for that question. That is why we say parents should decide for themselves. They have seen it. There is no parent today who have not seen the massacre in Garbu, not seen the massacre in Kumba, who have not seen the massacre in Konye. Who did not see the massacre in Kondo Titi in Indiana? So, all happening in schools. There is no parent who doesn't know this. Just tell me, wherever in this neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon, has school been attacked? Our boys have once crossed the Western that they are Western Division, because we don't have Western Division, we have counties. So cross to their Western Division, attack the police station, and not schools. There were schools around that area. No schools was touched. La Republique into our area, burn down schools, rape our children, kill our boys. So when the parents listen, not legitimate authority of this, which is this interim government, and they want to listen to splinter groups, people who think, I don't know, for example, who is going to tell even the ADF that is out there doing their own things, that is not our place to talk on this issue. We don't have time. They cannot even ask school to go back. The APLM is dead and finished. You don't even hear about them. But they cannot even ask school to go back. So this interim government holds the authority to tell our parents back home that the time is not right. La Republique is blood-thirsty. They want to suck blood. I mean, they are vampires. Just take a vampire without blood. They want blood, and that's why they are pushing this issue. So that when they cause that September United Nations meeting be taking place, the United Nations General Assembly, whoever one named them, Bela, whatever, so whatever, will stand in front with his funny English and then jump to French to say the Amazonians are attacking schools. And they made the error to even say attacking their own people. When they use that word, their own people, it used to make me happy, because they know we are our own. We are not theirs. Sometimes they use word, they don't know the implication. If the parents are going to fall on those people who are talking that they should allow their children to go to school, they should not blame us. We have put everybody have heard the Secretary of State for Education, Professor Dr. Porter. We've heard audio message coming from the Vice President, Mr. Eric Ate. We've heard from the President, heard from nearly all the Defense Secretary, from myself now as Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, that it is not secure for our children to go to school, because the Republic is going to hunt them, going to kill them, going to eliminate them. So the parents should take responsibility and don't ask us for anything. Any parent that is so stubborn and think they are weak, they are smart, they know how to La Republique terrorists, militias, and send their children to school, what will happen is their problem, because we're not going to attack any school. We will not go to the school there to kill our own people. We will not do that. Anything, notice it today, put it on record. Amazonians, take it down. La Republique, who are listening to ABC, put it on. Any child that will be harmed will be done by La Republique du Cameroon, because they have been doing it.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Elad. I mean, we've been talking about these particular issues since Monday of this week, and this is Thursday, and we'll still talk about it till Monday or till we get the result that we are looking for. Thank you so much for making yourself available for Undaunted today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your opinion, and for sharing your hearts with Ambazonians. We hope to have you some other time here on Undaunted.
So I want to thank you, ladies, and praise you for your great job that you're doing. So just for a second to tell the Amazonians that today, 8 p.m., we will be in Kupe Muanenguba. That is my home. That is my place. This interim government has done a lot for Amazonians who have been in desperate conditions, situations, and today they are fine. And most of that thing has come out from the Secretary of State's Department of Foreign Affairs. So please, I'm asking Amazonians, come and support. When I say me, and not me as Dr. Elad, come and support my county, because under the chair leadership of Professor Dr. Eporte, Kupe Muanenguba, the beast in us has come out now. Our commanders have put up a strategic plan for the military operation that will take place in Kupe Muanenguba. Let each and everyone come on Saturday and listen for yourself. And then after the draft, give us some few weeks or a month and see what will take place in Kupe Muanenguba. I promise you guys. Thank you, ladies, and thank you for your great job.
Thank you once again, Dr. Elad. And fellow Ambazonians, I'm sure that you have heard it all from the SOS Foreign Affairs, and I'm sure that we are ready to send every message and every word that he has gotten. You should know he got these words from the interim government. You can send those words down to the home front for them to do the needful. All right, meanwhile, we have an announcement here. At the end of Undaunted tonight, there will be an executive discussion with Tapa the King. He will also be having Ochiba Nelson, and the title will be War Child. It will be live just immediately after the Undaunted news tonight. The topic will be Cooper's debacle season 2. Of course, like I said, he'll be featuring Ochiba Nelson and War Child. All right, fellow Ambazonians, right after now, we will bring you the editorial, but it's going to come right after this break.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
In our editorial of today, we bring to you another article from Comrade Don Juan Obi, the Lord of the Realms. He titled, "Nothing is good enough unless enough makes it something. Victory at any price, defeat only in our dreams." We may have heard enough advice to give peace a chance, but we have suffered under peace since 1961, never to be its victims again. We may have witnessed enough terror to give up our claims, but we shall never allow terrorists to define our future with fear. We may have experienced enough pain to desire pleasure, but our heritage has been diminishing in full swing of political pleasure. We may have noticed our resources exploited and depleted enough to accept any political charity, but the wealth of our generation is beyond underground resources. We may have benefited enough from a public school program which is supposed to arm rebellion, but the thinking enhanced by the education system has been responsible for our collective fear-mongering and mass oppression. We may have consumed enough church sermon to make us saints and angels of peace, but the Bible was amongst the devilish tools used to enslave our race while the pulpit still serves as drumbeat for politics. We may have endured enough casualties to forsake our cause, but capitulation would be worse betrayal to the debt, and will hand over the authority of our future to those guilty of the killings. We may have wondered enough on this change initiative to settle on the domestic offered options, but we have been confined, imprisoned, oppressed, policed, and militarized all our lives such that hope is an adventure. We may have buried enough relatives to want to stay alive, but we have perished more in the hands of diseases and cause of poverty under this regime. We may have served in the economic interest of politics well enough to dream the prosperity of laws in surrender, but corporate interest has been the biggest killer of our innocence and dreams in our society. We may have lived in the entertainment of sports long enough to desire expression of passion in a friendly atmosphere, but victories in competition have never been won, us the crowd. We may have lived in the entertainment of sports long enough to desire expressions of passions in a friendly atmosphere, but victories in competition have never won us the crown, rewarded our skills, nor brought recognition to our identity. Now that was an interesting one from Comrade Don Juan B, wasn't it? If you want more of such articles, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of this winning strategy. Find our payment details on your screen. I am Star Smart reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV.
And in sports, Tottenham boss Antonio Conte says officials in England have to learn how to use the video assistant referee VAR system after his side were held to a Premier League draw at West Ham.
Conte's men have won 3 and drawn 2 of their 5 games so far and stayed in third place, but saw the two sides above them, North London rivals Arsenal and champions Manchester City, both claimed victories on Wednesday. Gabellison has more in sports.
Latest world sports. Football. England has to learn how to use VAR Conte anger in sports draw. Tottenham boss Antonio Conte says officials in England had to learn how to use the video assistant referee system after his side were held to a Premier League draw at West Ham. David Moyes' side hit back from a goal behind at London Stadium to claim a point against Spurs, who maintained their unbeaten start to the campaign. Conte's men have won 3 and draw 2 of their 5 games so far and stay in third place, but saw the two sides above them, North London rivals Arsenal and champions Manchester City, both claim victories on Wednesday. Spurs thought they had a penalty when Peter Banks pointed to the spot for an Aaron Cresswell handball, but after a lengthy check by VAR and having watched the incident on the pitchside monitor, the referee overturned his decision. Honestly, at the end of the first half, I spoke with the referee and told him, "You have taken the right decision," Conte told BT Sport. It is incredible that VAR looked again, called the referee. He can see it was the right decision, and the call from VAR was strange. I can tell only that the referee has taken the right decision. Usually, the VAR calls when the call is not right. The visitors did break the deadlock in the first half through Thilo Kehre's own goal, the German sliding in and diverting the ball into his own net following Harry Kane's low cross. Mikel Antonio called a delightful strike against the post before West Ham deservedly leveled in the second half, courtesy of Thomas Souček, the Czech confidently converting from Antonio's clever flicked pass. Club record signing Lucas Paqueta was introduced for his Hammers debut after the hour mark despite not having trained with David Moyes' men since signing from Lyon. The best opportunity for a winner fell to Pablo Fornals, but the Spaniard flashed his first-time shot over from 12 yards, while at the other end, Kane's scuffed volley was gathered by Lucas Fabianski. Tennis. US Open. Serena Williams beat second seed Anett Kontaveit in New York. Serena Williams showed she has no intention of ending her singles career without a fight after beating second seed Anett Kontaveit on another remarkable night at the US Open. Williams ranked 605th and turning 41 next month, won 7-6, 7-4, 2-6, 6-2 to stun the Estonian in New York. The American recently announced her intention to retire after her home major and is now into the third round. Williams will play Australia's Isla Tomljanovic next on Friday. A few weeks ago, Williams announced she was evolving away from playing tennis in an essay for fashion magazine Vogue, but agreed after beating Montenegro's Danka Kovinic on Monday. She had been vague about her exit timeline. "There is no rush here," she laughed after beating Kontaveit. "There is still a little left in me." While lacking some of the pomp and ceremony from her opening match on Monday, this was another special atmosphere. A 23-time major singles champion, Williams looked to extend her storied career by at least another round. More A-list celebrities, including golf superstar Tiger Woods, actress Zendaya, and soul singer Gladys Knight, were among an adoring home crowd on the Cavernous Arthur Ashe Stadium, which was wowed by Williams rolling back the years in an impressive performance. After edging a tense opening set, the former longtime world #1 suffered a dip of energy from the start of the second set as Kontaveit, but she recovered to win an edgy decider. In the end, Williams handled the occasion better than her 26-year-old opponent, who looked emotional before the final game as she hid under her towel and secured a victory that left many in an exultant crowd jumping to their feet to celebrate. "I'm a pretty good player. This is what I do best. I love a challenge, and I'm rising to the challenge," said the 6-time US Open champion, who first won at Flushing Meadows in 1999. "I haven't played many matches, but I've been practicing really well. Now it's coming together." In New York, Gab Ellison reporting for Undaunted, ABC Amba News.